Now you can see like we are into Visual Studio Code. Sorry, Visual Studio 2026 IDE, where I have created a basic application, that is .NET Core API application in .NET 10. The file, like the solution name is DTO Mapper Demo, where you can find the demo controller, that is weather forecast controller has been added. Okay, nothing else. Okay, as you can see, if you go to the program.cs, this is also clean. Okay, and we haven't added anything. Okay, now let's first we will create the folder structure. Okay, controllers we already have. Now let's create the model folder. Okay, so right click on the solution, go to add, and let's click the or select the new folder. Okay, we have created the model folders. Now let's create one more folder that is called DTOs. Okay, DTO folder is also been created. Now let's create a folder called profiles. Right click on solution, select new folder, click on profiles, and the last folder that is called as services. Now let's select a new folder, create a services. Okay. Now let's like as you see, like we have created the project already. Okay. So we will go and we'll install the AutoMapper package first. Okay. Right click on the solution, select NuGet package, go to the browser and select the AutoMapper. Click enter. As you can see, the AutoMapper, let's install the latest version of AutoMapper package. Let's click on apply, accept. As you can see, the package of AutoMapper has been installed successfully. We're expecting the uninstall button here. As you can see, the uninstall button is come up and update button is disabled because we have installed the latest version of AutoMapper package. Now again, we'll have to install one of the dependency injection of AutoMapper. Now let's select the specific package, and now let's click on install, select apply. As you can see, this is also finished, and you can see uninstall and update button. Okay, so we can say that both the NuGet package of AutoMapper has been installed successfully. Okay, now let's create first model. Okay, we are going to I'm going to demo the employee and department example. So in that models, let's create a model that is called department.cs. Okay, so in that department.cs, let's create a two property, that is public int id. Let's add a getter setter, and let's public string department name, getter setter. Okay, now let's create a one more model class that is called employee.cs. Okay, inside that employee.cs, let's create few properties, that is public int id. ID represent the unique identification of each employee similar to department. Let's create one more property that is called string name. Then set getter setter. Then let's add a salary, public decimal salary, getter setter. Now let's create one more property that is called email, getter setter, and let's include the department class. Okay, department and department. Okay, department is a class and department is a property. Now let's add getter setter. Okay, so okay, fine. As you can see, zero error. The class is clean or the model is clean. Now let's create a DTO. Okay, this is the model which we have created. Now let's create a DTO. Let's right click on the folder, select the new class file, and select the employee DTO. Okay, so in that employee DTO, we are going to expose three property: name, email, and department. Okay, now let's create a property that is called name, getter setter, then public string email, getter setter, and then public string, it should be department name. Okay, So etc. So we are exposing only these three property to UI. Okay. So this is the DTO, and DTO is we are going to expose only DTOs, right? Not the actual model. Okay. Now DTO hides the salary and internal field. Okay. So we can say that employee, this is the actual model which is going to interact with database, which is having five properties, including the department, salary, email, name, and ID. So like salary and other fields, the employee model is going to hide, and employee details going to hide. Okay. So employee is having the three properties, and employee is having the five properties, and employee details having the three properties only. We are not exposing the salary and the complete department list. Okay. Now let's create the AutoMapper profile. Okay. We have created the profile folder. So let's go to the profile folder. Right click on the folder and let's select the class file and select the mapping profile.cs. Okay. So inside that mapping profile.cs, this class should be derived from profile class. Okay. Profile class. Okay, you can see the actual correct namespace has been imported already. Okay. Inside that profile, let's create a constructor that is called mapping profile. Mapping profile. Okay. So inside that mapping profile, use the predefined method that is called create map. Create map of employee and employee DTO. Whatever classes we have created, employee is a model and employee DTO is a DTO model. Okay. Now let's import the correct namespace to resolve the error. And inside that, let for member okay, we forget to add the open close braces. For member destination dot department name and option OPT option dot map from SRC dot department name. Okay. This is the mapping profile we have created. Let's add a semicolon and you can see no issues found. The class is cleaned. Okay. Now the create map method employee and employee DTO, which is converting the employee object to employee DTO object. Okay. Then next is nested mapping, that is SRC dot department name maps to destination dot department name. Okay. So this going to convert complete employee object to employee DTO object. So employee model, how many property we have? 5 property. And employee DTO, how many property we have? 3 property. Okay. So the create map will convert the 2 properties from employee and it will map to 2 properties to employee DTO. What are the 2 properties? That is name and email. And about department name, if you go to the employee model, so department, it is complete a collection. Okay. So we are assigning this specific department name from the employee model to the department name of employee DTO. So that's why we have created the for member and we are reading we are reading the department name from the collection and assigning it to the department name property of employee DTO model. Okay, I hope it is understood. Now we'll have to register the AutoMapper. Okay. Now let's go to the program.cs. Inside the program.cs, we'll have to register it. Okay. Now here builder, let's add some space for the better clarity. Let's builder dot services dot add AutoMapper where you can see type of. Inside the type of, we'll have to pass a massive mapping profile, the class name. Okay. We can give the different class name also, that is fine. So as of now, we have created the mapping profile. So this class name we'll have to provide. So in that way, we can say that we have, registered the dependency of mapping profile. Okay. Now we have to create a service also. So we can add a dependency of service also. We can register the dependency of service also as of now. Let's add a scope. Inside that scope, we are going to create employee service. So let's add an employee service here. Okay. Obviously, we are expecting an error because we haven't created the employee service yet. Okay. Now let's go to this service folder, and inside the service folder, let's create an employee service. Let's select the add and select the class name, employee service.cs. Okay. And now create read-only object for mapping profile. Private read-only IMapper underscore mapper. As you can see, the required namespace has been imported. Now let's create the constructor public employee service. Inside that employee service, let's give the IMapper and let's assign this instance to mapper underscore map. Now let's do the manual mapping first. Let's add a comment, manual mapping, and then we'll do the mapping using AutoMapper. Now let's create a public employee DTO because we are returning the DTO object, and get employee manual. Okay. Okay. Inside that, what we are creating an employee object which is accepted, like we can say that variable name is a DTO, and let's create get employee as a method. Okay. Okay. So we'll have to create a get employee data method below, which is returning some static data. Okay. Later on, we can get this data from the database also. So as of now, we are returning the static data from here. So now let's create a private variable, private method, private employee, get employee data. Okay. I'll add a comment that is called static employee data for better understanding. Okay. Now it will return the object called employee. Okay. Now inside the employee, we have to create a normal object. We can say that ID is 1, then name is Nikhil. Then what is the option we have? Salary is 1 lakh or simple 50,000. Okay. Then email, then nikhil@gmail.com, and last is department. Okay. So as you can see, in the employee class, if you go to the employee class, department is nothing but a collection, the complete reference or the complete model we have added. So similarly, we'll have to create a model object here. Okay. So department equals to new department, and then the department ID, we can say that it's 101, and department name that is called as IT. Okay. So this is how we have created an object, and we are returning this object from get employee data method. Okay. So we are returning the static data to the employee DTO. Okay. Now we'll have to do the mapping. Okay. So how we can do the mapping? Let's create the instance of employee DTO. DTO equals to new employee DTO. Okay. We have created an object. Inside that object, let's do the mapping. So name property, how we can map? This is a DTO object. Instead of DTO, we can say that EMP data. Okay. So we have to use EMP data.name. Okay. What next property we are passing? Let's go to the employee DTO class. Name, email, and department name. These three property we are going to expose, or we are going to pass it to UI. So name, then email. What next property? Email. from where we can read the email property, that is employee data. Okay, and what next is department name. Again, emp data dot department dot department name. This is how we are done with the manual mapping. Okay, now we'll have to return the DTO object. Okay, as you can see, what is the return type of get employee manual method? That is employee DTO. So we have created the manual mapping of employee DTO and we are returning the same object from here. Okay, this is we are done. Now we can create one more method that is called as AutoMapper. Now let's add AutoMapper. Now let's create one more method, same public employee DTO get employee AutoMapper. Okay, get employee AutoMapper. Okay, and inside that it is very easy to use. Similarly, we are going to accept the static data in employee. Okay, and now you can see how AutoMapper help us to quickly do the mapping rather than making the lot of changes in manual, because while doing the manual mapping it will be very tedious job while working with the large data set. While working with the enterprise level application, there are large data sets, huge data sets, and different kind of mappings, different kind of entities relationship. So it will be very difficult to do the manual mapping. So that's why auto mapping comes into the picture. So as you can see, we have to create the employee DTO, and now let's create a DTO object. And what we can do here is we have created the mapper instance above, if you remember, and we have initialized the instance also. Okay, now use mapper dot. We have to use the method that is called map. Inside that map, we have to pass the employee DTO, and inside that employee DTO, we'll have to pass simply employee data. Now, this single line ensures that the complete employee model has been mapped to the employee DTO. We don't need to worry about manual mapping. We don't need to worry about the individual properties which we are going to map. We don't need to worry about how many properties we have how many properties we have in entities object and how many properties we have in DTO object. The single line, the AutoMapper itself do all these operations. Okay, and simply we'll have to return the DTO object. We are done with the AutoMapper here.